Today on CJ Off-Road, we're going to show you how to ditch the plastic front bumper on your JL Wrangler. If you're looking to ditch the plastic front bumper on your JL Wrangler and give your Jeep some more custom styling, today we're going to be installing this rugged Ridge Spartacus front bumper onto our 2018 JL Wrangler. This rugged Ridge winch-capable front bumper features a durable 11-gauge stamped steel construction with removable end caps, allowing you to articulate more out on the trail. This is a JL-specific bumper that's going to really change the look of the front end of your Jeep and give you great off-road functionality. With that being said, we're going to get it installed in our 2018 JL Sport. Tools needed for this installation: 1/2-inch ratchet, 18mm Jeep socket, short extension, 3/8-inch ratchet, 7mm socket, 8mm socket, T20 Torx bit, 6mm Torx bit, 13mm box wrench, 17mm box wrench, trim removal tool, Phillips head screwdriver, and a flathead screwdriver. In order to get this front bumper removed, you first have to remove this filler plate here. It's going to allow us to get access to some bolts. Going to pull some push pins out. Let's get started. There's a total of 8 push pins that you have to remove. There's 6 along the back edge of the bumper and then 2 that you can see here. Use a flathead screwdriver to pull the inside section out. Then go underneath, grab the whole thing. Before you can remove the filler plate completely, there's going to be 2 6mm sockets on either side. They're going to be inside the fender well here, all the way up at the front. Simply remove those using a 6mm socket. Now you can remove the filler plate. There are going to be 4 bolts on either side of the Jeep that connect the bumper to the frame. There's 2 on the inside of the frame rail and 2 on the outside. Let's get them removed. After you have all 4 of the bolts removed on the passenger side, repeat the same process on the driver's side and then you can move on. Before you can remove the bumper, make sure to disconnect the wiring harness here. This is powering both of your fog lights. Just push on that tab right here, pull it apart, and you're good to go. There are 2 8mm sockets right underneath here on this plastic skid plate that have to be removed before you can pull the bumper off. There's another one on the passenger side right here. Now you can remove the front bumper. Now that your factory bumper is off, you're going to remove a few pieces to get some of the components. There's going to be some fog lights as well as the hooks that you have to pull off. We're going to start with getting the fog lights out. Use a T20 Torx bit to get these bolts removed and get the fog lights from underneath. Go ahead and pull this piece out. Or at least far enough out of the way that you can get to your fog light bracket here. There are going to be 3 T20 Torx bit screws around the outside of the fog light assembly. Remove those and save the hardware. After you pull this side fog light, repeat the same process on the other side to get it out. Then we're going to move on to the center so we can get the rest of the wiring. In order to separate the front plastic piece of the bumper from the subframe, you have to remove 4 13mm bolts. There's 2 on this side, 2 on the other side. Let's get those pulled out. There are retention clips on the back of each of these studs. You have to get them removed before you can separate the two pieces. Use a small pick like this and just work at them. It doesn't really matter if they break. Repeat the same step for the other 7, then you can separate the bumper. Now that you have all of them removed, you can separate the two pieces. Now that everything is separated, you're finally ready to pull the things out. Start by pulling this fog light out towards you. As you can see, there are a few clips along the way. Use a trim removal tool to get these out. We're also going to be pulling out these tow hooks here. All you have to do is pull them out like so, set them aside. Pull all the fog light wiring out. Pull your other tow hook out and your last fog light, and you're done with your factory bumper. The next part of this installation is going to be up here on the table. It's actually going to be assembling this front bumper. We're going to get started with these plastic fill pieces and flip this bumper over. Grab your right-hand plastic trim piece and place it into the bumper, and it'll actually set onto some studs down there. You'll hear it click. It's a nice fit. Then we're going to put the included washers and M4 lock nuts onto the back. Take a washer, set it over. Do this for each of the studs. Then take your lock nuts and just get them started. Go ahead and get them tightened up with an 8mm socket. Then repeat the same process on the other side. The next step of this installation is to install your factory fog lights into the provisions that they designed into the bumper. Now we're going to take it a step further and actually install a set of these Rugged Ridge LED fog lights. It's going to go great with our LED headlights that we already have in our JL. Now we're going to be installing these with the specific brackets as well as the Starkey Products adapter. You don't need to do any extra wiring. It's going to give us a nice clean LED finish. Let's get to it. Set the bracket on like this. Install 4 screws around the perimeter. These actually come with the Rugged Ridge bumper. Install the fog lights into position. We're going to use this Starkey Products H16 to Deutsch connector to plug right into the back of the light and into our factory connection. All you have to do is plug it in like this. You'll hear a little click. Then the H16 is going to go right into the JL harness. You'll actually line up the notches and just make the connection. After you've made the connection, you'll hear a small snap, and that's it. All you have to do is plug this back into your harness and you're good to go. We're going to assemble a little bit more of this bumper and then throw it onto the Jeep. Being that this kit is the non-winch version, it does come with this delete plate, which we're going to install now. There is a kit available with the winch plate on it. We'll link it in the description so you guys can find it. We just flip this around so you guys can get an idea of what we're doing. You're going to slide the winch delete plate up from behind. There's 4 welded on nuts on the back. Just start your Allen key hardware through them, just so it holds on. Get the outer 2 started with these welded on nuts. After you slide it on, start to install the Allen key hardware through the welded on nut portion. This will at least hold it so you don't have to hold it the entire time. There's going to be Allen keys with a washer and a nut on the back side of these outer 4. We'll get those put on as well. Tighten the center bolts up with a 6mm Allen key, and then on the outside you're going to use the same Allen key with a 17mm socket on the back. Now we're going to move on to the plastic section that goes in your winch fairlead section. Because we don't have a winch, we're going to use this plastic filler plate where the fairlead would go. We're going to get this tightened down with the same hardware we just used and a nut on the back. We're going to start installing some brackets onto the Jeep. Go ahead and grab this piece here, and we're gonna also use this bracket which holds the bumper on. We're gonna start with the driver's side, and as you notice, it kind of bows outwards. That's the side you want for the drivers. Set this into there, and then you're gonna take your factory tow hook, line it up through there, put it into the factory holes, and see how it squishes it. We're gonna put the factory nuts onto the backside and get them tightened up. Go ahead and put the factory nuts back onto the studs. Do this at all 4 corners, then we'll get them tightened down. We're going to use an 18mm socket to get these tightened up. It's the same size we used when we took them off. Once you have all 4 bolts tightened up, repeat the same process on the other side. You can now install your new front bumper. What you're going to do is position this over the front tow hooks. Let it drop down. With those 4 bolts being installed, now's when you could add on these extensions here. They simply slide over it and get threaded on with the bolts. You can see this matches up with the fender very nicely. However, we want more clearance here at CJ Off-Road, so we're gonna leave these off and leave it as a stubby version. Install the bolts through the top. Go ahead and tighten down all 4 of these top bolts with a 6mm Allen key. Then repeat the same process on the other side and your installation is complete. As you can see, we just wrapped up the installation of this Rugged Ridge front Spartacus bumper onto our brand new 2018 JL Wrangler. This is a really nice bumper and it completely changes the look of the front end of our JL. You can add on the end caps to give that full complete look or get the stubby look like we chose here. We ended up adding a set of the LED fog lights, however your factory fog lights are going to be compatible. It's going to take you about 3 to 4 hours to get this installed simply because you have to remove a lot of the factory components. Now you can find this bumper as well as many other great parts for your JL right here at cjponyparts.com.